Hey folks, good morning. It is Friday, July 23rd, 2021, and I'm over at the Don Pedro Island State Park. What's neat about the state park is that it connects to both the mainland and Don Pedro Island itself. So this is one of the four barrier island state parks in this part of Florida. So I decided to pick a spot that actually provided some shade so that I wouldn't be overheating or sweating like a pig. But as part of this video, I actually want to introduce a particular plant, which is called the Bracken Fern. And here it is. This is the famous Bracken Fern. This is actually one of the oldest known types of ferns known in the natural world. You figure these ferns were existent even around the time the dinosaurs were alive. So what does that tell you? So, the thing about the Bracken Fern is whenever it starts growing, as a matter of fact, prior to the fronds from popping out, people have referred to it as fiddleheads. And fiddleheads is another separate plant, as a matter of fact. Fiddleheads kind of remind you of looking at, unrolling a cinnamon roll. That's the best way I can put it. It's like a visualization in your mind. But the Bracken Fern essentially does the same thing, but as I mentioned, those are two separate plants. So when you actually look at an individual leaf, or frond I should say, it has three separate parts. So for one, you have this side here with the pinnae, the tiny leaves. You also have the other side as well. And then you also have this large tip right here as well. So looking at the whole frond itself, you can see that it really creates a complex pattern. Give me a second. There we go. Yeah, very complex pattern. But then you go towards the top, and it actually does have an apex of where there are two separate little pinnae. That's the technical term. But it looks like the one to the left hasn't had a full chance of growing as much as the other ones have. But yeah, this is a complex plant. And a common feature of this plant, of the Bracken Fern, is if you look very closely, like right up here, they have these clusters of brown spores. Because with most ferns, when you look on the underside, on most of the tiny individual leaves, you'll see spores. But this one's a bit different. Instead, it's like all concentrated right here. So it is very complex. And it's oftentimes believed that they don't really grow in clusters like most ferns do. You can kind of see that they're kind of spread out a little bit. And you might be thinking, is there any edible use? Well, as it turns out, Native Americans actually used to use the rhizomes, which essentially it refers to a type of root where it can spread very easily. And these rhizomes would oftentimes be diced up, and then it would, sorry, little mosquito there. It'd be diced up, and then it would have to be boiled. And then they would add it as like a flour, for instance, to any of their food. Now, in terms of like medicinal benefit, I'm not really too familiar on. I couldn't really find too much information on that, but I may provide like an article that could delve into it a bit more. But for one thing too, for those of you who have livestock and you find the Bracken Fern nearby, don't let them eat this, as it actually contains a toxic compound that can eliminate an enzyme. Well, it has an enzyme that can eliminate thiamine, which is actually part of what makes up DNA, as a matter of fact. That's like one of the chemical groups. So definitely keep these away from your livestock, as well as even ourselves if we eat the fronds raw. So not safe unless if it is boiled. Yeah, I can definitely see that growth is really starting to occur. You can see that it is slowly progressing towards a mesic flatwoods. It's getting there. That's usually how it works. It kind of starts out as a scrubby flatwood, and then it will eventually make its way into a mesic flatwood once enough growth occurs. Yeah, you can see that they're just about everywhere. Yep, they are one of the oldest known ferns in the natural world. So, okay, I think that should about wrap it up. Hope you guys learned something of value once again. And yes, I'll be sure to see if I can include an article that may talk about medicinal benefit and provide it also in the description too. So, hope you guys get to enjoy your Friday, and Journey on a Journey is outwards. Take care, folks.